Hello, Caleb. Today is Thursday evening. Your time, you're 4 hours ahead of me. You live in Canada, parts of Canada. What part of Canada?
Halifax.
What's it called again?
Halifax. It's in
Halifax.
yeah,
Halifax.
it's in
Yes, you
Nova
told
Scotia.
in Nova Scotia. You've told me that, but I never remember. Halifax. Okay. Now, so you told me that your hours have been decreased at the job. As far as pay, you're getting paid for 20 hours, but you're there for about 30 to 35 hours. And so your salary is decreased almost 50%. And that hurts. Uh, how are you dealing with that? You went through a process. Did you feel anger, hate, pain, and so forth?
Yeah, definitely wasn't happy about it. Nobody'd be happy about getting laid off. So there's some pain involved of expectations of my desire to have a gainful, prosperous employment, and but in this there is the whole country's going through the same thing. So there are a lot of programs to help out because really there's no opportunities right now for other work.
Yeah, so the lockdown is a lockdown, especially restaurants. You're in the restaurant business. And how long you been in the restaurant business?
Um, just over 10 years.
10 years. So well, you just turned what, 28?
Yeah.
So you were started about 18 years old.
Yeah, I started washing dishes, maybe even younger than that.
Wow. Yeah. And so you're saying that you're going to seek unemployment.
Yeah.
Do you expect to be totally unemployed because you're saying you're working 20 hours a week? Can you still get unemployment with working 20 hours a week?
Yeah, it's they do math and all that to work out
All
um,
right.
what they're going to pay you.
So actually, so then you might get something extra besides your salary of 20 hours.
Yeah, yeah, I should.
Oh, that's good. All right. So you're dealing with the coronavirus, and you're in lockdown, but you also say you have a girlfriend, a new girlfriend. Basically, you've been together for what, a month or so, a couple of months.
Yeah, almost 2 months.
Yeah. And again, a little bit about your background. You've been working with me for um, going on 5 years. It's probably 4.5 years right now, going on 5 years. And you're learning to embrace your emotions because normally you're highly intellectual. And Gurdjieff talks about the three levels of the three centers: the intellectual, the emotional, and the physical. We have all three, but one is dominant, and the others are there, but they're say, for instance, the emotional center in you. Most of your life has been kind of not dormant, but not as expressive as as and you want it that way. You don't want to express your emotions because you found your emotions as a feeling of being out of control. Is that the feeling?
Yeah, being out of control, and there's a feeling of power that goes with being intellectual and feeling detached, being able to feel detached from the chaos of life and people's emotions, and being feeling like you're separate from it, and you're in your little castle of thinking.
Yes. Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to turn on this light, which is on the right. Let me see if this helps. It's getting dark in here. I don't know if that will help, but we'll see. Anyway, that's the way you're describing it. It's it's wonderful. Uh, and 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 I think most intellectuals don't realize what they're doing. They just realize that they just don't want to experience these emotions. And So you were saying that it gives you a power, and lets you feel intellectually powerful. I mean, I guess there are different levels of power in the intellectual world where individuals become very successful in certain areas. But one thing that you're able to do in your area is also to uh, don't let emotional people affect you while you're at the job. This was something you're being able to do, or when someone attacks you, because in a restaurant in the kitchen, it can be very volatile. The chef could be very screaming at people, yelling at people, and I'm sure this is what you experienced as you were in the process of just in the beginning stages. I think you mentioned to me that for 1 year, the cook that you work with was always screaming at you.
I'm familiar with that experience.
Yeah. And what was that like? You were about 17, 18 years old, and you felt you could do nothing right. Everything was wrong.
Yeah, I've had, especially starting out, a lot of experiences like that. And when I worked at a really top end restaurant, yeah, it was very difficult, and everyone's under a lot of stress. So the chefs really let it out on all the cooks.
Yeah, and let it out. It expresses his anger, frustration,
Yeah.
and start screaming at people, things like that. And so, so you were able to say, be focused and do your job. That's your power, being able to not respond emotionally and just focus on doing your job.
Well, that's how, I would want to be. But it doesn't actually work like that because nobody can just not be affected.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, basically I would just not try. My endeavor was to just not engage with someone's anger and put as much focus as I could into just what I was doing.
yeah. And so you were able to, so you were affected, but you went struck back, so to be. So you felt the stress, and this will be stressful, uh, and feeling your anger, but you didn't bring it out because it would be your job. You could jeopardize your job, um, but it's not in your nature to do that. For instance, it's an emotional person like myself. Someone starts screaming at me, I'll scream back automatically. And I remember this incident I had when I was taking my automobile, which is this old Mercedes, 1997, into a mechanic, Mercedes mechanic. He said, "Yeah, I'll bring it in. We'll analyze it, and no, don't worry, no cost. We just let you know what it is." I got there to pick my car up. He said, "Oh, yeah, this is wrong with it, and it'll cost you, say, $3,000." I said, "Thank you very much." And he said, "Wait a minute, you, you're taking advantage of this. Uh, how can you do that? Uh, we spent a lot of time on your vehicle." I said, "What the F are you talking about?" And I started screaming at him automatically, and I started attacking him because, but I was conscious of what I was doing. This was like, 5 years ago. We meaning that I was seeing of my, and this one thing about this work, when you begin to see yourself and see how you operate and begin to identify your feelings and understand your feelings and emotions. And you do this through the factualizing method that we work with. Now, and you're beginning very good at that. And so there now you're more emotionally getting in touch with your emotions. And what is that experience like now? You've been let's just share that again. You shared with me that as you began to get in touch with your feelings and your anger, your frustration, your emotions. What does that feel like now?
Yeah, well, it feels like being more free. It feels like it feels like having something that's always in the back of your mind, just letting it come to light. Because I think that's something about intellectuals is even if they don't acknowledge their emotions, they're still there. So letting them, or acknowledging them, and letting them have their space in your mind and body, um, yeah, feels really good.
Yeah. And for a moment, what do you think this work has done for you? Why do you do this work? Going on 5 years, why do you persist in this work?
Well, it one thing about yeah, before I was in this work, I really didn't have a direction for my life or any of my desires. I felt really kind of lost, and that nothing really had any meaning to me. And I thought that maybe a career could give me meaning. Maybe like I went to Peru and did ayahuasca. Maybe that could. I was reading Gurdjieff, and I read, all the craziest mystic stuff I could. But no, this studying Spinoza with you has, yeah, given me a feeling that I know what I want out of my life, basically.
What is that? What do you want from your life?
Um, just to improve my mind, my understanding, improve my being, basically.
What does that look like? What do you mean by improving your being?
It means that it means understanding myself, and also uh, the world around me, or nature.
Nature. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay. So now you feel you have more of a purpose.
Yeah, and that's a really unique feeling that it actually gives me distance from a lot of the problems, in life. We're talking about being unemployed and stuff like that. Before, I was so concerned about the opinions of others, concerned about status, in relationships and at work. Who's got what status, and this and that. Um, but being more concerned about the work makes all those things matter a little bit less. Makes all those ambitions have less power.
Yes. Excellent. And that's a great place to be when you have less concern about the opinions of others. We still have want approval, but it's not as powerful and overwhelming. Doesn't take over
Mm-hmm.
our life as much. We see it. All right, I see what's going on. And I can step back and I don't need that and focus on what I'm doing. And that's a wonderful place to be. All right. And now you have a girlfriend, and we have just a couple more minutes because I want to end this. But I just want to say that maybe our next talk we can talk a little bit about your relationship. But you have a girlfriend a little bit older than you, um, and she is very very emotional, and and you're learning how to be with her and connect with her and not try to isolate yourself, meaning that shut down. Because there was a tendency to shut down when someone's highly emotional. And you're learning how to open up to her, basically, open up to her needs. And that's, we're going to just end with that. Is that true? You're learning how to uh, listen, how to connect with her. Well, you're connecting with her, but it's just not
Mm-hmm.
physical. See, people get together, couples get together, and they're attracted to one another. And usually opposites attract. So you're highly intellectual and she's highly emotional. And so you're attractive, but yet an emotional person, they don't hold back. They're quick to anger, quick to frustrate, where you're more analytical and wonder why she's so upset, why she gets so upset so quickly about when you were said things that are inconsequential. but yet to her, they're not inconsequential. They're very important. So we'll talk about that next time. Will that be okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So I'm going to say good night. Thank you for this, and I'll see you next Thursday, or what day?
Thursday's good.
All right. I'll see you next week, and have a excellent effort week, and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.